Welcome back, friends and neighbors. This is Locked On Chiefs here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And it's Friday. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about what we want, not what we need, not what we have to see. What is it that we want? This is going to be a fun one. Glad you're here. Welcome to Locked On Chiefs.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Hey, it's Friday.
What is up, everybody?
It's one of those Fridays like in the offseason where we can just kind of drift a little bit. This is going to be fun because I think we're going to get into some interesting topics about what we want, what we prefer, but there's a little bit of news out there too, right?
Oh, just a little 9-year vet David DeCastro just got released from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Interesting move.
Yeah,
he's a right guard. I mean,
there's only 17 of them on the roster right now. So,
well, but we have questions about the ones we have on the roster right now. So
there are questions. I get that. That's
it sounds like he's probably mulling retirement, and that's a possibility that he retires. So I don't really think it's going to be an option, but I just thought it was interesting that he got released. Didn't sound like anybody knew it was coming, and then all of a sudden he is no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler, and he is going to be a free agent and probably retiring, like I said.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting for Ben Roethlisberger as well. Like try to come back, try to do one more thing, and
in 18 months, his entire offensive line has been rehauled.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's one thing to do it when you're Patrick Mahomes and you can run for your life, and we've seen him do it, and you're that young. But at Roethlisberger's age, I think that changed the complexion of the AFC, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it could. And you look at that offensive line and you look at Roethlisberger and you have to wonder how that's going to affect him. They brought in Trey Turner for a visit, and I don't think they signed him yet, but I would expect that they probably will with this move.
Yeah, that probably makes a lot of sense. In terms of what the Chiefs do, obviously Kyle Long is supposed to be back for camp. They have LDT practicing in there. They have the rookie in Trey Smith practicing in there. I think they have a lot of options. One of those guys could bump out, but I don't think DeCastro do, and especially if looks like he's slated for retirement anyway. I don't know that he's an option for Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he's an option. I just thought it was interesting that they released him, and it kind of came out of nowhere for everybody, it seems like. I do think that if he is – it sounds like he's got an ankle issue. The question is his ankle issue something that could heal by the season? If it is, honestly, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer if he wants to come in on a vet min contract.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it can't hurt to take a look. It's just a camp contract at that point.
Right.
You don't make the 53. You don't make the 53. Nothing lost, basically.
Well, and you can sell it to him by saying you get to play with Patrick Mahomes and try to win another Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, there's always some upside. We'll see if they do anything. I'm pretty sure Brett Veach is somewhere on a beach right now, but I know he's got phones that work, so we'll see what happens from it. One other piece of news that I do want to mention, L'Jarius Sneed got recognized, and in a way that I think we'll talk about here a little bit later, in the all under 25 team. I think that's an interesting concept. I like seeing who the youngest guys are that have a chance to really change the face of their franchise. And clearly they got more out of him than they expected, I think, in 2020, especially in a COVID year. Like, I have high expectations for him going forward, but it's not all the time that a Chief gets recognized in this way. I think that's a pretty good sign.
If your name's not Patrick Mahomes, that is correct.
Well, yeah, there is that.
There's that.
Well,
they have a couple other guys that have the possibility. I mean, they have some young players that are going to play for them a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think that maybe they found another diamond in the rough somewhere. We'll see.
Never know. I hope that they do. I mean, that's how you keep your franchise moving forward when you have stars that you have to pay. There's a number of things that I'd like to see, and I think that we'll get to those coming up after we get from the break. I want to tell you guys that BetOnline is the fastest, easiest way for all of your sports action. Baseball's going. We know we saw a bunch of interesting playoff scenarios. You can bet on those. There's props that will be coming with the football season. There's plenty. And plus, you can get all the latest news, odds, and everything for your sports needs on all those leagues over at betonline.ag. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. This is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their playoff runs, for their next seasons, for everything they have to do moving forward. Head over to the website. That's betonline.ag, and you'll get 50% back on your deposit bonus. All you have to do is use our promo code LOCKEDON to get that bonus. Check out betonline.ag. Now, what I really want to get into is not what we think is going to happen, not what's most likely. Like,
can we get a dream? Is that where you're going with this?
Yeah. Let's have some fun with it. What do we want to see happen? Like, any topic, doesn't matter what side of the ball, doesn't matter if it's a player, a coach, or a front office person. Like, what are some things? Pick your top one. What do you want to see?
Man, I could go really crazy and say somehow, you have, I don't know, DeAndre Hopkins traded to Kansas City for some reason. No, I'm kidding. I just think that'd be interesting having both Hill and Hopkins on the same team. But in reality, even the thought of dreaming with this team, I think really the big question is can they find a receiver that can step in and take Sammy Watkins' role? We have questions on the defensive side of the ball. We have questions at DN. We have questions at linebacker. Some people have questions in the secondary, and I get it. But for me, it's who's going to be that number 3 wide receiver. And a lot of people will probably say that it's the number 3 wide receiver. Why would you really care? I mean, it's going to be the number 2 wide receiver, but considering Travis Kelce, it'll be the number 3 option. I guess I should say it that way. You care because if he is not taking people away from Kelce and Hill, there are not many teams in the league that can shut those 2 down, but there are a couple. So you need somebody.
You do need somebody.
Right.
I don't know if it can be anybody, but yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. At the end of the day, you got to get things done, and that guy's going to have opportunities. So I'm totally with you there. Like I'm thinking the exact opposite, and that's why I brought up Sneed in the first segment. Like, it's nice to get recognized like he did, but he's got a ways to go as well. I think he's shown the athleticism to be able to make a jump this season. I think he's shown instincts. That is something that I think outside of Tyrann Mathieu, like they haven't got enough of right now in terms of at least evidence on the field of it. So what I want to see them do, one thing that I want is to come up with a lineup in that secondary that allows L'Jarius Sneed to travel, to put Sneed on wide receiver number 1 for every opponent.
Wow.
Win, lose, or draw, even in games that he gets outmatched, it makes him better. He is your only shot at here to have a true shutdown corner of the guys that are on this roster, in my opinion. I want as much iron on him as possible to make him better right now.
Wow. That'd be quite the move for Kansas City because I don't think they've really done that. And I'd have to go back and look at Spagnuolo's systems in the past to see if he had a corner that traveled much. I don't think he has, just thinking off the top of my head, but that would be quite a move for Kansas City. And honestly, it'd be very interesting for Snead. I think that you could hear a completely different type of comments about him at the end of the season if they did that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it would literally jump him into another echelon of player in this league.
As long as he's successful, yes.
Right. I mean, even if he's successful in a way that isn't as successful as last year, right? Which I think by all measurements put him in the top under 25 or whatever. Like, he doesn't have to have that level and to still make it a successful season, because then I think it sets him up for year 3 to be a guy that can shut down the opposing number 1.
Well, and I don't think he's going to ever be struggling for confidence, so I'm not too worried about it in that respect. But when you're throwing him against the number 1 every single game, you're asking him to go out there and basically get beat. You're going to guarantee he's going to get beat once or twice a game, probably. Yeah. And obviously, he's going to have to adjust to that, and that's fine. I just think that's a very interesting thing to do to him in year 2, where I think that, in this year, he could just be taking part of that defense and making it the best side of the defense. But, we'll see what they do. That would be very interesting to see what he's able to do this season as the lockdown guy, because I do agree. I think he has a skill set for it. The question is he going to be able to take that large of a step forward? Because that's a huge step.
Well, and it requires them having somebody else too. It requires them having 2 other guys that can either man the slot or the opposite side, whatever it is, and be able to be accommodating to him traveling. So for me, that means that it's got to be most likely Baker and Fenton that are playing, not Charvarius Ward, because Charvarius Ward needs to be on one side. They've never played him anywhere else because he just doesn't handle the opposite very well. So I think that's a precursor to it that may limit the possibilities.
Imagine that, you getting Ward off the field. That doesn't shock me.
Well, it's like it's a goal or something.
Well, I mean, it kind of seems that way. You've been asking for it for the past couple of years. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get an opportunity to travel with some wide receivers. I'd be shocked to see if they go to something like that this year full time at any point in the season. So, it's an intriguing comment or an intriguing aspect. I would like to see one other thing I would like to see is I would like to see Kansas City do something and bring in somebody that can give you some pass rush at the defensive end spot other than Chris Jones and Frank Clark. Yes, you have Taco Charlton. And the other issue that you're going to run into if you do that, though, is you're going to run into a depth issue because what are you going to do with the guys that you do have?
Yeah.
So I think that they need to help the pass rush, but I'm not sure how they're going to do it because unless they're willing to put one of their young guys on the practice squad and risk losing them, which is possible, it's going to be hard to add that pass rusher.
Well, I have to say, I don't think that Dan or Charlton's going anywhere. I think a lot of fans want Tim Ward to stand up and be in the rotation. I don't know that he's ready. Right. Just a little bit of snaps last year. I thought he was fine. He looked explosive at the time. I don't know if he can handle that being relied upon to produce pressure. So that leaves you with veterans. Is that what you'd like to see done?
I think you could find a veteran somewhere, and I'm not sure where. You may end up finding somebody coming off the scrap heap right before the season starts.
You never know. There's a lot of options.
Right. And honestly, you're looking at Kansas City with their cap space and thinking, how are they going to afford it? Well, honestly, if you're bringing somebody in right before the season starts, they're not going to get a great deal anyway. So they can afford that. Yeah. And if you can improve their pass rush, I think that's going to help them at other levels as well. So I think that's something where they could get a lot of bang for their buck.
Yeah, I agree. And, and they have Josh Kando back there too. I think you probably get him to the practice squad fairly easily, but you never quite know what other teams are going to see once he gets some on-field reps during the preseason.
That's the big thing is you're going to have preseason this year. You didn't have it last year. So it was a lot easier last year to just move guys to the practice squad and not worry as much.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but that's the way it goes. There are other things that I do want to see as well. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but got to tell you that when I'm looking for parts for my truck, it's sometimes difficult because not everybody stocks everything that I need. And that's why I go to rockauto.com. You save time and money by doing that. And why would you spend like 50 or 100% more for the same parts just because you have to get them from X, Y, or Z? Rock Auto is a family business, a long time, 20-year family business. Their prices are always reliably low, and they're the same for every customer, and that means something to me. So go explore the easy way to check out their website today and find the solution that you need for your truck, car, whatever, motorcycles, I think, as well. I think that it'll be worth your time. So check out rockauto.com right now, and when you find your stuff and you're ready to check out, put in their how did you find this box locked on, and that'll help you and help us. So they have amazing selection of reliably low prices and all the parts your car will ever need. Check out rockauto.com.
I love talking about Built Bar. They're absolutely delicious. I wish I could actually show you a prop of Built Bar, the actual bar, but they're so good. I eat them all, so that's basically becomes my lunch at times. I do, however, have the Built Bar packets. So if you haven't tried those immunity packets yet, you really should. They're awesome. The coconut chocolate chunk is my favorite flavor of Built Bar. They have 9 delicious flavors that they're selling all the time: coconut, almond, cherry, raspberry, mint brownie, peanut butter brownie, double chocolate, and salted caramel. There is something for everyone. If you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mixed box where you'll get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're really healthy too. They have 17 grams of protein, only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs in most of the bars. A couple of the flavors have 18 grams of protein, just 180 calories, 5 grams of sugar, and 5 grams of net carbs. Like I said, 9 amazing flavors that they're selling all the time, and they are all very healthy. Order today and get that raspberry or mint brownie or whatever you like. Go give all of them a try. They are delicious. You will enjoy them. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your first order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com.
I'm going to use it because I always do, but yeah, that is the way that it goes.
Yep.
So when it comes down to like things that are a little bit more out there, I don't know. Do you have anything outlandish that you really want to see happen?
Man, that's really hard because there are so many things that I would just love seeing happen. Actually, one of the things we didn't mention in the news today the NFL is approving using alternating helmets for the 2022 season. So not this year, but next year. I would like to see them going to more of an alternate type jersey at some point in the future, just maybe for a game or two, just to have fun. But, that's kind of where my thought process is going with the news today.
I can't see that happening. I think the helmet might give them an opportunity. It might be the old, Dallas Chiefs logo.
Right.
I'd love to see like a black one with the arrowhead.
I have a black Tamba Hali jersey from back in the day where they actually sold those as alternates. I just like to see them wear it once.
Yeah.
Just give me one game, like a night game to where, it's not going to cause heat issues. And I think that'd be pretty awesome.
I got to say, I don't like the gold jerseys of the mock-ups that I've seen, but I could live with the gold colored helmet as long as they got a little like a nice red stripe down the middle or something like that. I don't know. Got to have enough red on it.
Dude, that would look weird, but okay.
Right? Like, and that was the whole point. Like, it's not going to be the prison uniforms from Pittsburgh, right? So it really doesn't matter that much.
You're not going to be Bumblebee from Pittsburgh, so.
Right. So at the end of the day, I got to say, like, I want to see Andy get creative with the run game. Like, and it doesn't have to be what I would do, with the fullback and the, power or whatever, but it doesn't matter to me what it is, but just get creative with it. I think like the underhand sausage stuff and giving Travis inside little passes, I think that's like a start, but they went away from the little pitch pass for the most part. Like every year they've had a little bit of a wrinkle, and I want that to become more of a staple than like something exotic. So does that come down to Noah Gray? Does that come down to what Jerick McKinnon brings you? I don't know, but I want to see something that I haven't seen from Andy.
I find it funny because you're putting this in you preface this question to me is, what do you see as outlandish? And now you're sitting here talking about, improving the running game and going to that, and it's being outlandish. And honestly, I think it probably is a little outlandish. I don't think that they will do that. Although, going into the season, like, I talked about on the NFL show a couple of days ago, or I'm sorry, on yesterday's show, on the Locked On NFL show, their offensive line is completely different. So it's a question of, are they going to change their scheme a little bit? I'm not expecting them to go to a power scheme by any means, but are they going to start using their players more to their strengths? Because that is what they're going to be built for, some of those short yardage things that they couldn't do in the previous couple of seasons. They're going to have some of those guys that can do that type of stuff that I think will really help going into this season and getting those hard yards that they're going to need. The question is, can those guys turn around and do the same thing that the other offensive linemen were doing and keep Patrick clean on the other types of plays? When you start looking at outlandish things that Kansas City could do, I'd love to see him go for a quarter and run a 4 wide receiver set with Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. And just run, an entire quarter of 4 wides and just have fun. Sling the ball all over the field.
Basketball game.
Huh?
It's like fast break basketball.
Yep. And I think, they have enough wide receivers. They have enough depth at wide receiver, and Travis Kelce and Noah Gray and all the different players. I think you could get away with it for a quarter or two. And you would scare the living bejesus out of some teams.
Well, they would change their whole preparation for every week after that. So I'm down. Would you guys like to see that? I want to know. Hit us in the comments, either on the YouTube page or over at Locked On Chiefs on Twitter, even in the iTunes reviews. We appreciate it. We hope that you guys enjoyed this little bit of fun for us, taking a day to relax a little bit. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back with you Sunday night as always. We appreciate your time today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you then.